Hello there, everybody. This is Mel Allen. Summer is here, and baseball is in full flower. Detroit blossoms in the bullpen, while the Brewers show signs of losing their leaves before fall. Young sprouts in New York open fast on fertile soil and burst in bloom to brighten the landscape. A perennial beauty displays his colors for the last time, but remains in the garden. The Phillies pollinate at the plate and plant a seed to stem Chicago's growth. In Seattle, the Ranger petals are plucked by a budding pitcher who uproots 7 in a row. Last-minute transplants give new life to teams that plan to arrange a bouquet for the fall on This Week in Baseball. National League Overview. Philadelphia flew into Wrigley Field for a 4-game barn burner against Chicago with first place in the East at stake. The Phillies picked up their bats and never stopped swinging. 47 hits and 33 runs to sweep the series and take over the top. Reserve first baseman Tim Corcoran was evidence of the Phillies' bench strength, cracking 2 home runs in the series and batting .333 with 3 RBIs. Ivan DeJesus lifted his batting average almost 15 points by hitting .412 against Chicago with 4 runs driven in and 2 game-winning hits. Felt so good. Ozzie Virgil felt even better. 6 for 13 in the series with 2 home runs and 6 RBIs. Cub manager Jim Fry could do nothing to contain Philadelphia's pitching either. Al Holland was called out of the bullpen to zip up saves number 14 and 15 this season, second most in the league, as the streaking Phillies left Chicago fans in a mighty sad state. When the St. Louis Cardinals hosted New York, they encountered a blossoming Met pitching staff that went 47 innings without allowing an earned run. Ron Darling shut out the Cards on a 4-hitter and was 7-3. The 23-year-old rookie is just one member of a young core of pitchers who are brimming with confidence.
My philosophy on pitching right now, until I get to know the hitters, is really to get ahead of them and go right after them with hard stuff. And my out pitch is my fastball, and it always has been. And whenever I need a strikeout or a big pitch, I always throw the fastball.
I try to teach aggressiveness, I think, on the pitching mound, and for us to have confidence in our stuff that we have, and go right after the hitter and try to get in front of him and finish him off.
19-year-old rookie Dwight Gooden has been finishing off batters all season with 99 strikeouts, a 6-3 record, and a 2.61 ERA. But Gooden has done more than just throw strikes. His play in the field and smart mix of all his pitches have shown a wisdom beyond his years.
Dwight Gooden is certainly an exceptional young athlete, and it's not the fact that he throws with such consistent velocity, but more the fact that he almost has a 30-year-old head on a 19-year-old body.
26-year-old Walt Terrell shut out St. Louis through 7 innings for a 5-6 record with an ERA below 3.1. 28-year-old Ed Lynch had a 2.81 ERA and a 7-2 record. Another indication that this staff is for real.
Well, when you talk about poise and character, you know, on the pitcher's mound, you're talking about the fact that they can get through some rough times that they might have. Maybe somebody boots a ball behind them. Maybe they're out there on a day where they don't have their overpowering stuff. They still have to try to win the ball game and try to do the best job they can.
Well, it's always great to have good young pitching because that's what the game is all about. But probably the best thing about having good young pitching is that it usually gets better. So I think that Davy Johnson feels, as I feel, that we have to hang in the pennant race through the middle of July. If we can get to the All-Star break and still be 500 or above, then I think we can be heard from in the second half of the season.
27-year-old Jesse Orozco has been heard from in relief with 13 saves and a 1.85 ERA. And all this magic on the mound just might mean a new Met miracle. Darryl Strawberry could help make the miracle happen with his bat. He homered in the finale against St. Louis, number 7 this year. The Cards decided to pitch him differently later in the game, but when Andy Van Slyke fell down, the straw man went for home run number 2 on an inside-the-park job, and he got it. In the West, Los Angeles kicked off a series in Houston, still trying to juggle its injury problems, and the Astros picked up all 4 games. Enos Cabell jumped on the Dodgers in the first inning of Game 1 with a triple that stood up as the game winner. Cabell went 3 for 4 to keep his average among the league leaders at above 330. Phil Garner came through in Game 2, pinch hitting with the score tied in the bottom of the 9th and driving home the winning run. The Astros continued to flex their muscles in Game 3. Ray Knight led a Houston comeback from a 5-0 deficit with a 3-run homer. Going into the game, the Astros were last in the majors in home runs with 18, but after Knight blasted his long ball, Phil Garner unloaded one as well, giving Garner his second game-winning hit in a row. In Game 4, Nolan Ryan was in complete command, striking out 9, giving up just 3 hits over 8 innings to go 7-2. Dave Smith got his first 2 saves of 84 in the series, and Houston was suddenly hot with 7 wins in 8 games. Flying high at Montreal's Olympic Stadium was the Expos' Charlie Lee, who shut down Pittsburgh for his 11th victory, the first 11-game winner in the league this year. Lee lowered his ERA to below 2.2, and Montreal took 3 out of 4 from the Pirates. Way to be, Mr. Lee. Now it's time for this week's Volkswagen quiz, brought to you by the 1984 models. It's not a car, it's a Volkswagen. Seattle was the site of an explosive pitching performance by Mariner Mark Langston. The 23-year-old rookie struck out 12 Texas Rangers over 8 innings, including 7 in a row, although he didn't get the win. Now for this week's quiz. Can you name the pitcher who holds the Major League record for consecutive strikeouts in a game? Stay tuned for one terrific mound marksman. American League in bloom. At Milwaukee, a 3-game sweep by the Eastern Division Dynamos from Detroit. Last year, the Tigers had the 3rd best record in the majors, but lost 27 games in which they led after the 6th inning. The remedy? A beefed-up bullpen.
When we got Willie Hernandez, and along with Lopez and Doug Bear, they formed, to me, I think, the best 3 guys in any bullpen. There's one guy, maybe a Quisenberry or Fingers or Gossage that's better, but those 3 are the best on the ball club, and they've done a super job.
Willie Hernandez was acquired from Philadelphia, and he's averaging almost a strikeout an inning with an ERA under 2.1 and 12 saves to rank among the league leaders. Doug Bear has also been averaging close to 1 strikeout per inning, with 4 wins and 3 saves in relief, giving the starters a stronger sense of security.
I think it's a confidence factor. Starting pitchers know that they have 3 guys on the bullpen that can close a game down, and there's really not as much pressure on them, to go 8 and 9 innings.
Another reliever, Aurelio Lopez, boasted 6 wins, 8 saves with an ERA of 2.95.
Well, I'll tell you, this is the best bullpen I think I've ever had in the big leagues. Lopey has done a job for me before. In '79, he had a great year. In '81, he had another good year. But with the addition of Willie Hernandez coming from the left side, the combination of both those two guys as short men has really been a big plus for our team.
I never felt all along that we were going to have any problems in our bullpen. I felt that we might have some problems in our starting pitching down the road, but I didn't think at any time our bullpen would be something to be questioned. You know, a lot of people know a lot more than I do, and I just go along and listen to them. I'm not smart enough to figure out all those things.
You expect us to believe all that malarkey, Sparky? Second place, Toronto kept on trucking, dousing Boston and giving Blue Jay fans a bird's eye view of clutch play. Rance Mullenix was the man in Game 1, driving home 2 runs with 2 outs, and the Jays down by 1 in the bottom of inning 11. Willie Upshaw went 4 for 10 against the Red Sox, drove in 3 runs, stayed among the league leaders with a .327 average and 42 RBIs. The Blue Jays were also blitzing Boston from the mound. Luis Leal, 7-1, let loose with a 2-hitter and struck out 9. This year's most complete shutdown of the Red Sox.
It's as pretty a ball game as you're ever see a major leaguer pitch, and everywhere Bucky put his glove yesterday, Louis hit it. And the secret to pitching, in any pitcher's case, actually, is throwing strikes, getting ahead of the hitters. He certainly was ahead of them all day long.
A key cleanup man for the Jays is Roy Lee Jackson, who earned a save and struck out 8 over 5 innings of work as Toronto swept the series to keep the heat on Detroit. In the West, Minnesota was bubbling as the Twins swept 3 games in Kansas City. First time in 8 years. Mike Smithson stymied the slumping Royals with 7 strikeouts in less than 6 innings, hiking his record to 8-7 with an ERA under 3.5. John Butcher was converted from reliever to starter this year, and he really slaughtered the Royals with a 3-hit shutout to go 5-4 with a 2.52 ERA. The Twins also showered Kansas City with their bats. Dave Engel kept his average above .320 among the league leaders with a hit in every game, plus 3 RBIs and a game winner. Mickey Hatcher also hammered hits in all 3 games, going 4 for 11 against the Royals with a game winner and lifting his average above .290. Ron Davis got save number 12 to rank 3rd in the league, and the surprising Twins kept cruising near the top of the division. In New York, the last Hallelujah chorus.
Batting 5th, the right fielder, Lou Piniella.
After 16 seasons with a batting average of .290, Sweet Lou Piniella played his final game with a style that marked his career, always going all out. Piniella is taking over as coach and batting instructor. Well, the Yankees have lost Lou's bat, but they retain his wellspring of knowledge, class, and heart. Now, let's get to the heart of this week's Volkswagen quiz. Tom Seaver was a New York Met when he set the record for consecutive strikeouts in one game, 10 straight against San Diego on April 22nd, 1970. Tom Terrific got the last batter in the 6th inning and then set the side down in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. Seaver struck out 19 overall in the game, which incidentally tied the Major League record. Fans Fans, laughter at a big league ballpark is kind of like a balloon at the circus. It can start rolling with a burst when the jugglers and the clowns begin to misplay around. Hey, man, don't hide. Let the sun shine in. Because this three-ring circus of not-so-heads-up baseball gets messier and messier. So keep your head on for some more plays that are way off base. Yes, indeed. The game is full of pitfalls and pratfalls. Hey, did somebody say send in the clowns? Now let's watch an explosion of big bang defense that's pure dynamite. Blasting it off, Minnesota's Dave Meyer. Go, boy. New York Yankee Willie Randolph. Cincinnati's Dwayne Walker. Milwaukee's Robin Young. Jim Rice, Boston Red Sox. Mike Schmidt, Philadelphia. Minnesota's Mickey Hatcher. Montreal's Doug Flynn. Milwaukee's Randy Reddy. And was he ready? Cleveland's Pat Tabler. The Expos' Tim Wallach. Tony Phillips doing it barehanded for Oakland. Boston's Bill Butler. The Brewers' Deion James. Tony Gwynn, San Diego. Atlanta's Glenn Hubbard. And he's staying active. And finally, Milwaukee's Rick Manning. Over and out. You know, fans, in the month of June, all baseball eyes focus on one date, the 15th. That's the day of the Major League trading deadline when teams shuffle their lineups and hopefully try to improve their pennant chances by moving players in trades made at the 11th hour. This year, Cleveland starter Rick Sutcliffe was acquired by the Chicago Cubs, along with reliever George Frazier to bolster their pitching core. Atlanta got Ken Oberkfell from St. Louis to replace injured Bob Horner at third, and Bruce Bereni was obtained by the New York Mets from Cincinnati to round out an already formidable staff of pitchers.
Biggest thing to remember about trading ball players is a trade should only be examined and evaluated in retrospect. Anybody who makes a trade today and says that's a great trade is only kidding themselves. You really have to go back after a few years, look at the results, and then evaluate the trade.
But some pay off right away. The White Sox won the American League West in '83 when Julio Cruz was obtained from Seattle to play second. He helped spearhead Chicago's late-season surge to the division crown.
June 15th, I believe it was, I got traded to Chicago, and to me, it was like a night-and-day situation for me, being traded from Seattle. I'm just enjoying every minute of it, and I'm excited.
In 1969, the New York Mets beat Baltimore in the World Series, and Don Clendenon was the MVP. Acquired from Montreal at the trading deadline, Clendenon hit .357 against the Orioles with 3 home runs to spark a miracle for the late Gil Hodges.
One of the big assets, I think, that for the New York Mets in the 1969 season was the deal that our general manager, John Murphy, made for Don Clendenon. And he did a fantastic job for us, picking up our ball club.
In 1964, a deadline acquisition by St. Louis helped the Cards beat New York in the World Series. Lou Brock had come over from the Cubs and hit .348 for St. Louis in the regular season, .300 in the series.
When I got to St. Louis, it was a brand new attitude. Being traded to someplace because somebody over there wants you rather than somebody trying to get rid of you. And so that in itself changed my entire perspective of the big leagues.
The perspective of Milwaukee fans changed in 1957 when the Braves got Red Schoendienst in a trade with the New York Giants at the deadline. Schoendienst, a slick-fielding second baseman, hit .310 for Milwaukee, leading the Braves to a National League pennant and a World Series win over the Yankees. So who knows, maybe one of this year's deadline trades will bring a World Series berth in October. Now it's time for the Big Stick Player of the Week Award, brought to you by new improved Old Spice Stick Deodorant and Antiperspirant. Al Cowens of Seattle is this week's winner. Cowens connected on a 3-run homer against Texas with the score tied in the bottom of the ninth. His third game-winning hit over 4 days. 2 nights earlier, the Rangers saw Cowens beat them in the bottom of the 10th. And in the game before that, he drove home the deciding run and a win over Kansas City. So congratulations, Al. And that's all for now, folks. See you next week on This Week in Baseball.